And we invite here the spokesperson of the administration of the President of Ukraine on anti-terrorist operation, Colonel Andriy Lysenko. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. The situation in the anti-terrorist operation zone remains complicated. The enemy is actively continuing to strengthen the military capacity and combat capacity of the so-called armed forces of Novorossiya. They pay special attention to fire training, to shelling training, artillery training, and the elements of assault actions. The Russian terrorist troops continue to violate Minsk agreements using the banned armaments. 10 shellings from 120mm mortars and also 2 shellings from the artillery of 152mm artillery over 24 hours, and once they used a tank. The highest activity of illegal armed formations is in Mariupol sector, next to the settlement Shirokino. 12 shellings from different kinds of armaments, of weaponry. In Donetsk sector, the intensive fire is next to Donetsk airport and the city of Gorlivka. In Luhansk sector, the gunmen have been more active next to the city of Shastya. Also, the regime of silence was violated next to Krakivka, Orikhovo, Stanitsa, Luhanska. Mostly they use mortars, grenade launchers, and small firearms. The Russian mercenaries continue to use drones in order to organize air reconnaissance, and within Donetsk region over 24 hours we detected 7 flights of drones. We don't have anyone killed among our warriors over the last 24 hours. 3 people were wounded. According to the decree of the head of the so-called DNR, Alexander Zakharchenko, the operation to disarm Cossack groupings started, after which the Cossacks will be transported to filtration bases. If they do not perform the orders, then they will be killed on site. Another 3 Ukrainian military were freed from enemy's captivity: Dmitro Kirichik, Dmitro Martinenko, and Vitaly Meshastey, who were taken prisoner in January during a fight for Vuhlegirsk, have arrived to Dnipropetrovsk today. Ukrainian engineers continue to work on the liberated territories of Donetsk and Luhansk region. Only within the last 24 hours they defused 92 explosive devices that had been a threat to the lives of peaceful residents. In Luhansk, the bodyguards of Troitsky department have detained a citizen of Ukraine 50 meters away from the border with Russia, and it was established that this citizen took part in the activity of illegal armed formations. Also, our policemen have detained a gunman nicknamed Bars, who took active part in military confrontation on the side of the so-called DNR. He took part in combat action on the territory of Gorlivka that is under temporary control of militants. In February he got wounded and then deserted the DNR bandit formation to Dzerzhinsk, where he was hiding with his friends. He is arrested.
Ukraine creates the new system of defense. And the result of the meeting of the NSDC on the 6th of May, the strategy of national security was approved. The basic document of defense planning. The priority of the strategy is to create the system of defense which can guarantee state sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. For that, certain changes will be introduced for future membership of Ukraine in NATO and reform according to the association agreement between Ukraine and the EU. Special attention in the strategy is paid to the construction of fortifications. And the heads of Donetsk and the Karpatska regional state administrations received the reprimand for violating the terms of construction of fortifications. According to the presidential decree in May and June of 2015, there will be demobilization of servicemen who were enrolled in June last year. At the same time, the President introduced amendments to the order on terms of next enrollment from the 17th of February 2015, according to which the term of service will be extended by 1 month. Now it will last till June this year, and the units of the armed forces of Ukraine are getting training. The servicemen of the Marine Brigade, which are involved into anti-terrorist operation, improve their military skills. They have classes on eliminating the self-made explosives and on technical and engineering training. Also in Chernihiv region, the military training of mobilized tankers continues. The trainers who participated in NATO in the east of Ukraine work with the military. The chief of staff of the armed forces of Ukraine, Viktor Muzhenko, arrived to check the status of military training for the warriors. The teachers and the students of the boarding school in Rivnensk region are now helping the defenders of the motherland. The international community helps to IDPs in Ukraine. The European Union will allocate more than 2 million euros for organizing the housing for IDPs in Slaviansk and Kramatorsk. There will be the capital repair of dormitories organized for IDPs. Could you please tell, can we say now that the Minsk agreements have been violated?
The matter is that we are seeing the violation of Minsk agreements, but we cannot say that they are fully disrupted. There's still the exchange of prisoners going on, and at least the Ukrainian side has withdrawn heavy armaments. So the Ukrainian side does demonstrate an exemplary fulfillment of Minsk agreements. We also see some elements of fulfillment on the side of our enemy. However, this is not a system, and taking this into account, we cannot say that the Minsk agreements have been totally disrupted. At least the political component started to work, trilateral group, also subgroups, 4 of them. The responsible persons were appointed by the President of Ukraine to work in those subgroups, and they have started to work, so the process of realizing the Minsk agreements goes on. Any other questions? No other questions. Thank you, Colonel. Thank you, everybody. We will see you tomorrow, and our next